United States pulled out of ceasefire talks with Hamas today, saying that the terror group lacks any kind of good faith and lack of desire to reach a peace deal or return all the hostages. It's a terror organization. Only in this country do people keep pretending that Hamas is a legitimate state actor, okay? But you also have a crisis behind these bad guys, and that there is starvation as a real risk and reality on the ground, and that Israel is not allowing aid to get where it needs to be, that there are 900 truckloads of food and medical aid, and the UN says they can't get it there because it's too dangerous. Who is to blame for this situation, and what do you do about getting the hostages back? I want to bring in someone who understands the politics and the players, Israeli Special Operations veteran Aaron Cohen. Aaron, thank you for being with me as always. We will now consider alternative ways to get back the hostages. What is Witkoff talking about? What's the universe of possibility?
Intelligence-driven operations, just coming up with other plans to be able to either try and do extractions or continue to hunt down Hamas quietly. But to address the broader macro part of what you just teed off in that intro, there's an old expression, Chris, in Arabic, and it's "Badek al-haq," which means, do you want the truth or do you want his brother? And so this repeated call for ceasefire, Hamas doesn't want a ceasefire, Chris, in my opinion. They never did. They want that media window, and a ceasefire gives them the space to keep moving hostages around, reposition fighters, and prep that next wave of attacks. The moment Hamas is no longer got that camera on them, they become irrelevant and they fade into obscurity. And we've seen it time and time again. And so every event or pause becomes a tactical reset for them. And while the world sees restraint, Hamas just takes that as an opportunity. So where I come out with all this, their goal is to flood the media with images of suffering, whether it's real or staged, and then use that to isolate Israel diplomatically, install Israel's diplomatic operations, and Trump is onto it, and Witkoff is onto it. The America's onto it. Hegseth, everybody sees it. So let's not forget there's still hostages inside of Gaza. You can't talk about a ceasefire with hostages still in captivity. And so the ceasefire only makes sense, like you said, when the enemy plays by the rules, and Hamas just won't. They never will. They're going to hide behind the civilians, the hospitals, the schools, and they're going to keep screaming for protection. And so now this ceasefire, I think it's off the table, and there's no more reload and repeat. And I say good for Trump and good for Witkoff.
The one thing that is hurting Israel, I mean, there's 100 things that's hurting Israel in terms of American media optics, but from the beginning, I have been openly critical of two things. One, you should have let us on the ground. You don't get to decide whether or not there's a free media if it's a free society. And I think Israel, the IDF made a mistake keeping us out. Two,
you might be right.
You give aid anyway. I used to watch the United States and the Allies wipe out situations in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then all this aid would come flooding in, and you'd be like, what are you bringing aid in when you just destroyed it? The optics. The optics. And here the optics are that people are starving. People are suffering. And Israel does not do everything that it can. And it's a horrible look. And now we hear about all this stuff. And the UN says we can't go in. They won't make it safe for us. Who's to blame?
There's over 900 aid trucks inside of Gaza, Chris, stocked with food, water, medicine, and fuel, and Israel has allowed them in. The problem is they've done their part. And the reason why the aid isn't reaching civilians, and you've seen this, is because Hamas controls that distribution. And so to answer your question, the UN isn't capable of operating independently on the ground. And that's the problem. And until Hamas is completely wiped out or eradicated, and until that pressure is put on them politically, no more discussions, that's how it's going to continue to go. So that's where I come out. I agree with you, and Israel could be better with Israel's terrible at the optics. We're better at war fighting and counterterrorism, but you know, this is the price that we pay, Chris, to have a Jewish state. The world hates us right now, but we're tough people. We're going to be okay. We're going to be fine, and we're going to continue to push through and do everything we can to get our hostages back.
There is no starting position for me about whether or not Israel should exist. That is not an arguable point for me. Aaron Cohen, thank you very much for being with me
Chris,
as always.
we appreciate you, and we appreciate everything you do to bring that even-keeled perspective to all this. So thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.